Hello and welcome to the show. Well, I'm out in the garden today on what is a lovely, bright mid-November morning. Well, it might not be morning for you, but it is for me. That's what it is today while I'm sitting here recording our little 3 times a week talk show. Beautiful day, a little bit chilly, so I've actually got on 2 sweatshirts today. I might be, those of you that watch the show on YouTube, I might be looking a little bit chunky today. But really, I am not as fat as I look. I have actually got 2 sweatshirts on today to keep myself nice and warm. I don't think we've ever actually done a show out in the garden mid-November. I'll tell you. Well, boys and girls, I have been to another carvery. Yes, been to another carvery. This one was in Reading. If you know the Reading area, near the Caversham Bridge, the Toby Carvery. Slightly more expensive than the other one, £5. But I took James Dean there and we had the most enormous dinner. And it was very, very nice indeed. So that's what I did on Saturday. James Dean, as you know, has stayed for another night. Now, I can't remember if I told you this in the last show, but just to tell you again, just in case I missed it, he was supposed to stay with me for a couple of nights, okay, and come to where I work on the Saturday. What happened is that one of his friends rung up, actually Scott, you know, the one who's in all the theatres and been on the telly and all that. His friend rung up and apparently he was having a leaving do, right? So as soon as he rung up, he says, "Oh, I hope you don't mind. I won't come to, I'll pop to Belushi's for a few minutes." And it was a few minutes, let me tell you that. And then I'll go and meet Scott for the night and I'll come back later. Well, off he went. You know, he must have been in Belushi's all of 30 seconds. You know, roughly all... Oh, the cat's coming up. Come on then, Katie. You coming up here? Cats want to... Come on, up you come. You coming up on my lap? Or not? Come on, dear, make your mind up. Oh, aren't they annoying? You coming up? No. All right, please yourself. Yes, so he was supposed to come in. He stayed there for about 30 seconds and then he went off to meet his other friend Scott, right? And then, oh, it gets worse. Oh, it gets worse too. Then it texts me a message about 12:30 to inform me that he won't be back tonight because he's going round Scott's and they're having a bit of a private party at the house. I nearly said the Scout hut then. What was going to start? Nothing to do with Scouts. So he was going to have a little party around Scott's house with Scott's girlfriend and the family. So that was it. I was left high and dry. I mean, it's nice, isn't it, you know? It's shocking. James Dean is very much like a cat. If you don't know who he is, he hosts The Matinee Show. You can find that at matineeshow.co.uk. And he's like a cat. If he gets a better offer, he's off, mate. There's absolutely no loyalty whatsoever with that boy. Terrible, isn't it? Left high and dry, and then the next day I get instructions on the mobile telephone to bring his stuff down to the pub where I was working that night, and he'll meet me there. How nice is that, eh? God, I don't know why I bother. I really don't know why I bother. However, my cat Katie, are you coming up on my lap or not, girl? Come on. Come on, darling. Don't be shy. You're not usually. Come on. Oh, she won't come on my lap, will she? Come on, Kate. Katie. Do you want to stay down there? Oh, she likes it because the sun's out today. So that was my little trip to the carvery with James Dean. I meant to tell you a couple of weeks ago, I went for a meal with a friend of mine in a Weatherspoons pub in Islington, which is like quite a posh area of London. Again, I can't remember if I told you this. I found the note written down somewhere, and I hadn't crossed it off, so I'm assuming that I didn't read this out. So there was me, my friend, and his mother there. We went and ordered the meal, and then this woman behind the bar, she said, "That's £55, please." Well, I said, "What do you mean it's £55? She said, "It's £55. I said, "Well, it can't be. All we've had is 3 meals." Oh, that's what it says on the till. She was. I don't know where she was from. Foreign. Probably Polish. My guess is she was Polish. And she's standing there arguing. I said, go and work it out again. Right, my friend's standing there, so he's hearing all this. So she said, right, well, you've got steak and our pie and vegetables. That's £5. Because Weatherspoons are known as being a very, very cheap pub to eat and drink. I mean, they really are. The value for money is very good, okay? But you don't get any extras. They seem to run on a skeleton staff. There's never any music in there or anything like that. I think I'm pretty sure they had some video screens up in there, but it's basically a cheap pub and is doing extremely well in the UK, okay, as a chain of pubs. So she's working through this thing, £5.99, and she says, comes to £25. I said, well, that's better. She said, well, that's what I said before. I said, no, you didn't. Yes, I did. I said, you didn't say. You told us it was £55. She said, no, I said 25. I said, you heard her say 55. And the boy said, yes. She wasn't going to apologise. Dreadful. Dreadful customer services. So there we are. That's the... And to add to this, right, the manager of the pub was standing next to her, listening to this going on, and didn't come in on the conversation once. And it's just a... So I won't be going there again. Weatherspoons in Islington. You know? No, I didn't bother writing a letter. What is the point of writing a letter? I'm afraid I've got to that stage now, you know, when you think to yourself, oh, shall I complain? And then you think to yourself, no, it's just not worth the time and energy, is it, to complain to these people, because they just fob you off. They're not interested. So I vote with my feet. Shan't be going to Weatherspoons in Islington again. If she had said, sorry, it was 25, I do apologise, I would accept that, fine, no problem. But no, she stood her ground and was determined to say that she hadn't made a mistake. All I wanted was a sorry. I didn't want anything free. Absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. I don't know who trains these people. I really don't. Awful. So there we are, very nearly ripped off for 55 quid for a £25 meal there. Other food news, I found something else I hate at Aldi superstores. And these are whole grain muffins, okay? Or no, I tell a lie, multi-grain muffins. You buy these in like a sealed plastic pack from Aldi. They are the most vile muffins that you have ever tasted in your entire life. You open the packet and they smell of peas. P-E-A-S. Isn't that strange? I don't know what the ingredients are in there, but they actually smell and taste like peas. So very, very strange. Has anyone else in the UK tried the Aldi multigrain muffins? And please do let me know. The email address of the show, if you want to join in at any time, is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, last night I went to visit my friend Ronnie in London, and his house is spotless. And he came round here, as I told you the other day, with his other half to see my two nephews and the older one's girlfriend. Took them out for a pizza, and he said, I need to clean my house top to bottom. Okay, we're not talking mould growing and that sort of thing, but it's just generally dusty. I would say a bit dusty in places, maybe a couple of cobwebs on the ceiling. And you see, this sort of thing doesn't really bother me. But I got to thinking about it. And it's not something I want to do. And Ron reckons, I should get a cleaner. Only once a week, wouldn't cost an awful lot of money, probably no more than £20 a week. But I just don't like the idea of someone in the house that I don't know. I don't like that idea at all. I rarely have visitors here. No one wants to see poor lonely old Chris in his little house in Bracknell in Berkshire. They don't want to come round. Well, similar to that, I don't want them to come round if I don't know them. So I don't like the idea of a cleaner. So I have offered him a bit of cash to come round and clean my house top to bottom. The first offer was rejected straight away. Once again, another rejection. Won't be the only one this week, I'm sure. The second offer made him think, and he said, oh, I might come and do that then. It's all about money, isn't it, eh? He's not doing it because he's my close friend. He just wants the cash. Terrible. Terrible. So I might have him come round and do that and clean the house top to bottom. He knows what he's doing. He said you have to do them one room at a time. He also thinks I should get a filing cabinet for all my papers. He did say to me that, how do I pay for things and sign bits of paper? How on earth do you find the bits of paper? And I to be honest, I don't know. I just do. What happens, a bill or something might come in, and then I'll put it on the side, you see, and you end up with a pile of papers and you don't know where you are. He reckons I should buy a filing cabinet, so I think I might do that. But after that, we went down to, for the first, I don't remember going this year at all to McDonald's. Maybe once. So last night I went to McDonald's and it was very nice, thank you very much. What did I have? Just a normal big burger thing and some chips and a Coke. Do you know, I'm sure they've downsized the large Coke cups. Because when he brought it over, I thought, that's a medium. I mean, I didn't say it. Maybe I should have said something. I did ask for a large. Maybe it should have been a medium. Maybe it should have been... maybe it was a medium. I'm sure it wasn't a large. But I didn't say anything. Anyway, so that's it. Had to pop down the doctor as well yesterday for something. And he was mentioning... What does he say? He said, oh, would you weigh yourself, please? So I'd weighed myself on these scales. I said, oh, what should it be? He said about 85. So I weighed myself 85.7. So he was happy with that. Huh? So not a bad day all in all yesterday. Right, on to emails. First of all, let's say hi to Tom Harris from the podcast TomHarrisUSA.com, who writes, hiya Chris, thanks for the birthday greeting a couple of weeks ago. The hacking cough was a nice touch. That's all gone now, my cough. On his birthday, I did have exactly one drink for my birthday. Oh, don't push the boat out, Tom. One drink, dear. Well, what happened there, then? I thought he was a bit of a drinker, just like old Ross Pats out. Oh, yeah. One of a... Oh. How strange is that? Well, that's a new ringtone, isn't it? I like that. Just a minute, I better answer it. Good morning, James Dean. I'm just in the garden recording a show. Can it be? I've just told them all about you and how you left me. You left me high and dry in Belushi's to go and see Pretty Boy Scott and his girlfriend. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. I've got a cat I can rely on for love. What do you mean where the talent is? I am the talent, dear. What do you want? No text has arrived yet. No. He probably hasn't sent it, all right? Cheerio. Goodbye. There we are. My dear, well, I say dear friend James Dean. He uses me, basically. Uses me. When he's got no one else, he rings me up. Shocking, isn't it? Anyway, yes, Tom writes, I had exactly one drink, but I haven't been drinking very much at all since coming back from my UK trip. Well, it's not a bad thing, is it? Come on. It's not a bad thing not to have a drink. And the cat's come on my lap now. Hi, Katie. Lovely girl. You love your daddy, don't you? Pete and I actually celebrated my birthday with a nice dinner and cuddle the night before. Why is there no one to cuddle me? Why is that? And I spent the day of my birthday recording a show, among other things. Yeah, I'm a bit the same, really. Birthday's just another day, isn't it? He writes about Ross's show. He says, it is family friendly as long as your family is the Addams family. He says, oh, it is shocking. And most shocking of all is that young Mikey and Yannick are listening or even on the show almost every week. I do find that quite shocking as well. Yannick, incidentally, those of you that follow the Ross Patzelt show, rosspatzelt.co.uk. Yannick is one of his younger listeners, and he is going to start his own podcast. So good luck to Yannick there. He lives in Brighton now. And on the subject of Katie, who is on my lap at the moment, Katie the travelling cat, Tom says, well, if Katie is indeed travelling between your house and Robert's in Iceland, that would explain why she's getting pudgy. Tell Robert to stop feeding her so much. As always, enjoying the show. And that's from Tom. Thank you, Tom. Nice to hear from you, sir. Yes, cats do travel. You don't realise how far they travel. Right, now, we've been holding on to this email for a couple of weeks now. Which should give you a little bit of an insight into Jason's hip replacement. Now, this comes from Jason. You remember, if you've been following the show, you want to know he's 30, I think it's 34, Jason. And he's recently had a hip replacement, and people have been asking, why is this? So Jason writes, Dear Chris, I've listened to a few of your shows and appreciate being mentioned. If you want to share this message, you're more than welcome to. You may want to shorten parts of it to suit the show. Oh, no, we don't edit here. I usually read things out exactly as they are. Except, oh my God, one of my cat's whiskers has just come out in my fingers. Oh, sorry, Katie. You won't be able to get through doors now, will you, darling? Yeah, we usually read emails here in their entirety, unless they're kind of praising me, in which case I tend to leave those bits out. I thought it would be nice to share with you how the hip replacement came about. In 1986, when I was 12, I was in terrible pain when I walked. My mum took me to the doctors, where I was referred to hospital where they took x-rays. It was then found I had, at the time, a rare children's disease called Perthes disease. I was then admitted to hospital, where I was placed in traction, which consisted of laying down in a bed with weights attached to the legs and feet to with weights attached to the legs and feet to remove pressure from the hips and allow blood flow to try and repair the damage that had occurred from the disease, which lasted about 3 months in hospital. My God, did you have to lay down on your back with these weights non-stop for 3 months? That must have taken some doing. Oh, dear me, Jason. Unfortunately, Jason says, I wasn't diagnosed until 12 years old, by which time it's very hard to avoid long-term damage to the joints, so I was left with permanent damage to the hips. This then turned into osteoarthritis, and I was getting terrible pain in the hips and referred pain in the knee. It was getting increasingly harder and more painful to walk, and my legs started freezing up, so this has led to needing a total hip replacement. I will need both hips doing, but one at a time is the preferred way of doing it. I suppose the reason for that is if something goes wrong. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, Jason. I gather when they do eye surgery, I think when they do, when they do the laser treatment on eye so that you don't have to wear glasses anymore, I gather they do one at a time. So if it goes wrong, you've kind of still got the other one. Although, you don't want to lose an eye, do you? But I think that's how they do it. I don't know about cataracts. Do they do one at a time or do they do them both? I don't know. Is it the same with hips, I wonder? Anyway, now after 7 weeks since the operation, there is no pain in the actual hip, but it's still painful in the knee and muscles while they are still recovering from the procedure. Yeah, I mean, it's a big old job, that, isn't it? I suppose to cut through you, and do they drill a bone and all that business, I think. He says, walking is still a struggle at the moment, but improves every day. And with the physio, he has the physiotherapy, the long-term outcome should be a better pain-free way of living. I've had help from friends, including yourself, to get me through the first few weeks of coming out of hospital, and I can't thank everyone enough. So, I mean, Yeah, well, it's nice to come down and visit you, Jason. I know you've got other people visiting you who are in the Jason, actually, his flat is in Brighton, although he does work in London. And it is nice to have people coming round. I did take him out to Asda, and while we were in there, he got one of those little electric disabled trolleys, which the security man, I told you about this, didn't I, kindly let us borrow. So that was quite fun going around in that, wasn't it, really? He says, I heard that one of your listeners, Lisa, mentioned that she had lupus. Now, I didn't know what this was, so I did ask anyone to write in. My mum had that. It's a terrible disease, and I understand that you've never heard of it. Lupus is a chronic inflammatory disease that occurs when the body's immune system attacks its own tissues and organs. Inflammation caused by lupus can affect many different body systems, including joints, skin, kidneys, blood cells, heart and lungs. Lupus occurs more frequently in women than in men. There are 4 different types of lupus, and my mum had the most severe. Unfortunately, as you know, she lost her fight to this illness by it attacking her lungs. I only mention this as not many people know of lupus, me included, Jason. And it's a terrible disease, as I said, and it doesn't get enough recognition. Yeah, I've never heard that. He says, I hope this email doesn't sound depressing, as it's not meant to be. More of an information tool to someone that may be going through the same thing. So there we are. Hope to speak to you soon, and hope you had an enjoyable day at Thorpe Park. Yes, indeed we did. An expensive day for me, unfortunately, Jason. But thank you very much for that. No, the email, it's not depressing at all, you see. This show is about sharing stories and experiences. We all share them together. All right, so thank you very much for that, Jason. Nice to hear from you. Let me see. Oh, by the way, my Nokia. I've got my Nokia mobile phone down by my side today because I've found out that you can actually download applications for it, just like on the iPhone. Although I have to say, you know, I still can't get the hang of using the internet on this. It kind of opens up 3 pages sometimes and. You can't close a page or go, but I can't work out at all. I've got a Nokia Express Music 5800, and actually I've got an application running at the moment on it, which is like a stopwatch, and it tells me how much longer the show has got to go. These are half-hour shows, as you know. Half-hour show 3 times a week, United Kingdom Talk. So I'm just trying out this application. That's working quite well. I have downloaded other applications, which includes making the camera light go on so you can use it as a torch, and also a strobe application, which makes the light flash very quickly. Very useful at discos, dear. And on Halloween night, I had it underneath my chin, and it was flashing, and I was looking very scary. Yes, I know, even more scary than normal, boys and girls. Which you didn't think was possible, did you? And another application I downloaded, which is completely pointless, to be honest, is a candle. And the candle just comes on and goes. Oh, it's ever so pretty. I mean, perhaps when I have dinner later on, I could have a candlelit dinner for one. No one to share my dinners with. I don't know. Has anyone else got the Nokia 5800 mobile phone? I do find the internet side of it, I find horrendously difficult to use for some reason. I can't open pages and... Oh, I don't know how it works, dear. Disappointingly, there is an application for Nokia, which is Nokia Radio. And you're supposed to be able to listen to radio stations all over the world on this, which is fantastic. But... not on this particular one, but other Nokia phones, you're supposed to be able to listen to radio stations. We downloaded the application for this, and apparently it's not compatible with this particular model. So very disappointed about that. Because usually, on the way home from work, if I'm coming from Birmingham, I listen to podcasts on my little MP3 player, namely Ross Patzell, Triple J. I've told you the ones I listened to before. But I would like to listen to LBC. I like to listen to LBC on the way home from London because I can get that out here. But I can't when I'm in Birmingham. And I thought I might be able to listen to it on here. Sadly not, unfortunately. So very, very disappointing there. The email address of the show, by the way, do join in at any time, is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Email here from Doug in Akeley, one of our regular correspondents, boys and girls, who writes, "Hi Chris, good story on your washing machine." He calls it a washer. Do you call washing machines washers in the USA, do you? He says, "You said it just had a cold water inlet. So does it just heat the water on demand?" Yes, it does. I think it does. It's got programs on it and you can select different cat's rubbing itself against my foot, and it's got different settings for what temperature you want the water done. I usually set 30 or 40 degrees, which is quite cold actually. My friend got a new washer last year, and the people that delivered it did all the hocking up and levelling, and they had water running in it as they were leaving to get rid of the factory smell. Yes, you're right, and that's something else I didn't realise. You are supposed to kind of let it do a wash before you put washing in to get rid of the factory smells, which of course I found out after I read the instructions, after I did a couple of washes, so there we are. Although I didn't notice the clothes were smelling very bad at all. Oh, they smell all right, dear. Right, let me see. Years ago, back in Marshalltown, I helped an old guy with his washer that I talked to on CB radio. Oh my word, I had a CB radio. Years ago that was. My handle on there was Matchbox. Matchbox, you're on channel, copy? Oh, we all had, a lot of us had CB radios. That would be early 1980s, wouldn't it, for us here in the UK? Because we were much later than you. Now, our CB radio was on FM, and it didn't get out as much as your American CB radios, which were on AM, but we still used it, and it was great fun. Killed by the mobile phone, unfortunately. I think when the mobile phone came along, we all got rid of our CBs, and I do believe you can still get them now, and there are still people on there, but not as popular as, and nowhere near as popular as they were in the 80s. Doug goes on to say, all he did to keep it from bouncing around the house was now a 2x4 frame around the base of the washer. He says, it sounded like most... Well, did he remove his transit bolts? Because that's the reason my washing machine ended up on the other side of the kitchen, weren't it? No, actually, since I removed the transit bolts, the washing machine doesn't move at all. So obviously it must have been that. And of course the motto there is, and I really ought to learn this when I fix or order things or anything like that, read the blooming instruction book first. I could have created so much damage in the house with that. Water pouring out all over the place. Dreadful. Always read the instruction book first, boys and girls. He said, on one of your shows a couple of weeks ago, or a week or so ago, it sounded like most of the audio in the programme was coming out of the camera mic. Yeah, great show. Thank you for that, Doug. Yes, that's possible, actually, Doug. What happens is I actually record the audio on a gadget here, but the audio is also recorded on the video camera. And if I forget to switch off the audio on the video camera when I'm editing the show, that can happen, so apologies for that. I think that's the first time I've done that. Anyway, that's all for the show today. As always, thanks for listening or indeed watching to the show. Do join in by email. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I'm going to go back in the house where it's a bit warmer now. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now.